F12, F12. We ain't going nowhere until we get a CBA. We ain't going nowhere until we get a CBA. We ain't going nowhere until we get a CBA. We ain't going nowhere until we get a CBA. F12, 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 F12.
On January 5th, 2017, Carter and Oak Developments and Georgia State University closed on a deal that would allow them to purchase Turner Field from Atlanta Fulton County Recreation Authority for $30 million. Scott Taylor, CEO of Carter and Oak Developments, and Mark Becker, president of Georgia State University, together promised that the deal would bring a new level of development and transformation for the entire city of Atlanta to enjoy. But the city, too busy to hate, is no stranger to fancy language and is definitely no stranger to gentrification. The residents of MPUV saw the deal as an opportunity to encourage development without displacement. Recognizing the necessity of having a seat at the table, residents of Summerhill, Grant Park, Mechanicsville, Pittsburgh, and Peoplestown came together to form the Turner Field Community Benefits Coalition. The purpose of the coalition was to be a representative body to show that the residents of MPUV wanted to take a lead role in the development coming to their neighborhood. Over the past 50 years, residents of MPUV, Atlanta's last predominantly black neighborhood, have experienced gentrification, displacement, and settler colonialism, thanks in part to the introduction of I-20 through several neighborhoods, I-85 through several neighborhoods, several parking lots, and the construction of a number of stadiums. Refusing to allow any more residents to be displaced and for any more history to be erased, the Turner Field Community Benefits Coalition came to the table with one simple ask: for legally binding community investment that was intentional about development without displacement.
It sets our hearts to fire, sweeps you and I. Honey, don't you know it sets our hearts to fire, sweeps you and I. Honey, don't you know we do, we'll pull. I will love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Love you, I do. Love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, I do. And my darling, I will follow you into the sunrise under dancing sky. We don't you know it sets our hearts to fire, sweeps you and I. Honey, don't you know we do, we'll pull. I will love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, I do. Love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Love you, I do. And my darling, I will follow you into the sunrise under dancing sky.
What's your name?
My name is Tasia Troutman.
Who do you organize with?
I organize primarily with ATL is Ready and ATL BSU, but also with the Housing Justice League and the Turner Field Community Benefits Coalition.
Okay, tell us your Tent City ATL story.
So my Tent City ATL story, I'm here because I've been working side by side, hand in hand with this community, with Housing Justice League for about a year now, fighting for CBA, fighting for renters' rights, fighting for housing justice, bringing awareness and advocacy to the affordable housing crisis in Atlanta. And because this black-ass neighborhood, with all these beautiful black neighbors, deserve justice. They do not deserve to be pushed out like so much of Atlanta has already been. And we're not gonna stand for it. Like, we're not gonna stand for these attempts to push them out and to erase them for a freaking football stadium for a school with a subpar football team. Really for no other reason, but that's really an absurd reason.
What's been like the hardest part of being out here? Like,
the hardest part about being out here is just the fact that, like, you're working so hard, but you know the history of how, like, the city and the folks that should care don't, you know? Like, you know the struggle, you know about all of the city council meetings before now, you know about all the other direct actions that we've been doing, like, week after week, day after day, and we still, like, haven't gotten a W. So it's like, how long will we have to do this? How long will we sleep out? How long until they send, like, the police state out here and start sweeping us up? You know what I mean? Like, if GSU wants to come out here and develop this part of the stadium tomorrow, like, they will very well use by any means push us out. You know what I mean? And the community doesn't need anything like that. Like, they're already, you know, walking on a tightrope. You know, they're already exhausted. They've already put in a good fight, and I just don't want to see this go wrong. So, I mean, and this community really speaks to me a lot because as an Atlanta studies historian, yes, I've given myself that title because I don't need the alphabet soup behind my name to know this. Like, I can talk Atlanta with you any day. This community has survived wave after wave after wave of development-driven displacement. You know, they built the highway smack dab in the middle of it and, like, divided the community. They put Fulton County Stadium here against the people's wishes, even though the people needed affordable housing then. So because white folks didn't want black folks coming further east, they were like, well, if you build public housing and it's all black public housing, we're gonna move out. We're gonna take a big part of the tax base. So the mayor at the time was like, well, instead of housing for white people or for black people, which are both in shortage, we're just gonna put a stadium here. And Atlanta didn't even have a team. There was no Braves or no Falcons. They came the year after. So you've seen this historic pattern of profit over people, development over humanity, and it's happened right here in this community for years. You know, this community has, like, the highest instance of childhood asthma of any other community because of the development, because the highway sits in the middle, and people don't care. Like, it's daily violence that this community has dealt with for over 50 years, and we're still out here fighting. And so I think this is an important moment. And if we get a win means a win for Atlanta and not just for this community. Because all development should have a CBA. All development should be inclusionary, and all development should center humans and not space.
what are you gonna do when we win?
I don't know what I'll do if we win. I know I'm probably gonna grab Miss Sharice in the tightest hug that I've ever hugged anybody, and I'm not a hugger, but I'm probably gonna grab Miss Sharice. Because Sharice Brown has taught me more about housing than any professor at Georgia State University ever has. And so that's what it boils down to. It's the community over this entity. It is people over policy. It's humanism. And so I think to stand in a moment with people that I truly love, with my family, away from my family, and, like, celebrate a win as big as this, to know that these folks will stay in their homes, I can't put into words how I react. Yay!
We are trying to get a negotiation for a community benefit contract that is binding and legal with Georgia State University, Carter Development, and Oakwood Development. And we're gonna be out here as long as it takes until they listen to us and know that this is not a joke, this is our livelihood, and we're willing to stay on this front line as long as we have to.
But we are dedicated because we are really concerned about what's happening to us as residents and what's going to happen to the other residents in the community who don't have a voice. Low-income people are going to be the first people to go.
The income around here does not fit that development. The majority of the people around here in this community make like $17,000 a year. So I'm saying something should be down there for everybody.
We plan on being here until we are invited to the table to negotiate a community benefits agreement.
Fashioned in black lips, but we are holy matrimony to the world we created with our black fingertips. We are the molding agent, utilized only for superficial gain, This country only stimulated our superficial pain. But black strength is funny because we play the superficial game pretty well, huh? We always get away just in time, huh? Well, not this time, because we have a purpose, and the strength we have is worth it. So we must work out to our black advantage perfect. I think it's time to give birth. I think it's time to eject into a new prism. Welcome to black graduation, into peace and loveism.
In a country where they are forced to live as strangers, ownership of land has meant so much for black people. The struggle against gentrification for Atlanta's black working class has brought in a number of issues, including over-policing of black communities and under-resourcing of black schools. In a city where corporate capitalist private interests have taken priority over the quality of life of most of its residents, students and community have banded together to take a stand and say once and for all that human dignity, education, jobs, self-determination, economic development all matter so much more than the private interests of capitalist developers.
CBA. When do you want it? Now. What do you want? CBA. What do you want? CBA. What do you want? CBA. When do you want it? Now. When do you want it? Now. When do you want it? Now. What's that now? CBA. CBA. The unity. Benefits agreement. What's that spell? Until we get a CBA. Until we get a CBA. Until we get a CBA. And then I'ma take my black home and get in my bed. Cause I'm tired. I wanna get paid. Yeah. This don't make no sense. Becca needs to sign it. Where is Carter? Scott Taylor, come on now. Sign a CBA. Sign a CBA. Sign a CBA so I can go home. Sign a CBA. Sign a CBA. Sign a CBA so we can all go home.